Guys, we have our guest joining in at this point. One and only Srinath. Hello, Srinath. How are you?
Hi, Sagar.
Srinath, a huge news today for Indian chess. Arjun has won the Tata Steel Challengers. How is the mood? And have you already met him? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very happy and relieved. I feel that this can be a very important point for Arjun. So, in that sense, I was quite nervous about today, but after he has managed to draw the game and won the tournament, I feel quite relieved myself and quite happy. And from the beginning, he was so highly motivated that he just didn't want to win the tournament, but he had higher goals than that.
But you said about higher goals about him, and what were those goals before the tournament?
He wanted to score a certain number of points, and if he wins tomorrow, he gets that. So that was a goal.
10 and a half. Wow,
Yeah,
that's massive.
it was amazing. It was amazing to see that kind of optimism from him even before the tournament.
What do you think worked for Arjun well in this event, or would you just say that he was much stronger and his rating, like 2632, is right now he's underrated?
Yes, I think for sure he's been underrated for quite a while, despite the rating leap that he has had since the post-pandemic. I did feel that he was the strongest in this event from the beginning, but also I think a number of things went our way from the start. For example, having more number of whites, a few initial wins that just happened, which might have gone the other way if things were not as good. And apart from that, I think we also managed to achieve pretty nice positions from the preparation in a lot of the games. So the kind of preparation where I felt that Arjun was stronger than his opponent. So I think it's a combination of all these things. Sometimes you do some things really well, and but you just end up being unfortunate and unlucky, and things don't go your way.
Could you tell us a bit about your role? People know that you were the trainer here, or they say the second. How does that actually work? How was the day scheduled for both of you?
Yeah, so the role itself, I would check his opponents after his game ended, and I would brief him about what his opponent's strength and weaknesses were, and give him my recommendation of the kind of questions that he should aim for and what opening choice he should make. And then the final decision would always be his, which is how it should be. And then it would be a combination of either him working on certain parts and me working on certain parts and sending him files, or very rarely working together on something and discussing it directly, or me showing something and explaining him. But for the major part, it was briefing him about his opponent, giving him the recommendations, and then working on the directions that Arjun chose.
So would you say, like, when the game ended by evening and he would come back, then after dinner you would brief him, and then he would say what he wants to do, and then you would work, and by the time he would wake up in the morning you would already have things prepared for him?
Not especially. It happened only in the initial couple of days where I stayed awake an hour or two longer than him. Also, I felt that the Challengers tournament, the level of preparation required was not as high as it would have been for the Masters. Opposition faced by Arjun, they did not play as many variations as the Masters would play. The depth of opening preparation was not at the same level. Also, a lot of these opponents were young, and some of them had very clear weaknesses, which was apparent. So he himself came well trained, well prepared, in a good shape, and had fantastic versatility. So whichever direction he needed to go towards, or whichever type of position we needed to aim at, Arjun was ready, and he had the ability to play them well. These were major assets, which is unique to Arjun.
Amazing. A lot of people, and also myself included, a little bit confused about Arjun's style of play because he was so good at everything. Yeah, like be it attack, be it defense, be it positional chess, calculation. What would you say has, because earlier we had asked you once and you had said Arjun really likes to grab material and then hold on to it and then defend really well. Do you think that his playing style has evolved and he has new strengths now?
I think one major change has been his psychological shape. Previously, he used to be a bit intimidated by certain strong players. Now he has, I think, overcome that. So he is able to play against anyone without being intimidated. Second thing is he has worked a lot on his openings. So when I met Arjun for the first time in 2018, he was a really good player, but with absolutely no opening preparation at all. This kind of started changing sometime around 2020, I think, during the lockdown. A lot of these changes, it happens within oneself, like no matter how many people tell you that you need to work on something or improve at something, at one point, the change starts coming from within. I remember Vidit also went through something similar in his own career. There was a time when he played only one opening, and that would be one classical Sicilian against one e4 and something against 1d4, and he was able to make those changes and overcome those fears, and that basically made the difference in his career, why he was he surpassed every other Indian player out there and became number two. Similarly with Arjun, he had these two issues, and he has managed to improve a lot on both these aspects. He has made major progress.
With the wind blowing in his sails right now, and the confidence, I think he would be super motivated, especially after that interview of Magnus. I think that would have been very special, right? What was your and Arjun's feeling about it?
Absolutely. Arjun he has enormous respect for Magnus. So hearing those words from Magnus, it meant a lot to him, and it gave him confidence. I, on the other hand, I was like, Arjun, I've been telling this to you for the last 4 years. Now Magnus tells you, and you believe it. And I told you.
It's like your parents tell you something, you don't listen, and then someone else whom you respect very much tells you, and you're like, yeah, no,
Exactly.
something like
Exactly.
that. But
True.
Magnus just said that he's not very surprised this has happened, and I think that was very cool, because if I remember, he played with Magnus at World Blitz, and at that time Arjun
Mm-hmm.
was quite intimidated, facing Magnus for the first time over the board, and he was a little bit defensive, but he held to the draw at the end. So I was looking at that game and I thought maybe Magnus feels okay. Arjun is a talented youngster, but he didn't press him or anything. But here Magnus was like, he's super talented. He'll cross 2700. So I think he was looking through his games in general, not just basing on that one game he faced him.
Absolutely. I would imagine Magnus keeps a tab of everything, and he also plays quite a lot online himself. So he also had this marathon bullet games against Arjun, and these things are very indicative of a player's strength and their style, I would say. Although you have very less time, my belief is that you cannot really be a strong bullet or blitz player without being a good chess player yourself. Especially the blitz part, the 3+2 with increment, you have to be a really good chess player to get to 2750 or even 2700. These things don't just happen. I mean, you're not just a blitz specialist if you're that good. It also means you have certain chess skills, certain chess understanding. Also, the way Arjun got those successes in those quick games, you can already feel the strength,
Yeah,
the moves that
yeah,
he finds in instantly. It's
absolutely.
not just tactical tricks, or he gets bad positions and tricks his way out and wins games in the blitz or bullet games. You can just feel these things, just by the moves he suggests instantly, or the moves that come in his speed play games.
You've been coach of the Indian team that won the Olympiad gold, online Olympiad. Then you have been working with Nihal as he rises up the ranks. Now Arjun, you've been working with him. It's tremendous. I'm sure you played a role in Divya recently, achieving her norms and becoming the latest WGM of our country. Raunak, you working with him as well. Amazing.
Yes, thank you so much, Saga. With them rising in any way or going towards their goals or whatever they want to achieve, there's quite a bit of personal satisfaction as well for me in that that they are able to get there.
It's so interesting that current India number 4 and 5, Nihal and Arjun, and they both are doing so well. You've worked with them very closely. Would you say that they have similar styles, or would you say completely different?
They have a few similar styles. I think both of them had a strategic base to begin with, and they're very good at intuitively understanding the strategic concepts. Nihal, for instance, he's very safe and stable, and there is a difference between how he plays the faster formats and how he approaches classical chess. Arjun, I think, he's a bit more practical and can be a bit more aggressive and ambitious. He's also balanced enough to not lose his objectivity or stray away too much in his quest to win games or score points. There is Abdusaturo and all three of them. I think they have a very good strategic base and are very strong players. Well, some of the key differences I noted was someone like Abdusaturo, he tries to win from many situations, even if objectively is not the position doesn't demand it. uh, Nihal usually is quite objective, so he knows he's practical, he's pragmatic, and he wouldn't blow his bridges in terms of trying to win. So he scores less wins, but he also doesn't lose. And I think Arjun is somewhere in the middle between these two. He's not as much in the extreme as Abdusaturo, but also not on the other extreme as Nihal.
These are tremendous insights, from the future of chess. With it, losing his game to Mamedyarov.
I saw this moment at Queen G4, and I was pretty surprised that this happened. Until that point, it looked like Vidit was doing quite well. So it's a very tough event, and there are so many things going on. As it is, vacancy is tough and brutal. It's a long event. You have strong players in every game. It all consumes a lot of energy. So after 10 rounds, everyone has lost a bit of energy.
Srinath, it was amazing talking to you, getting your thoughts on just the entire process of how Arjun managed to perform so well. We are very excited for what future holds for him. As he mentioned, he's going to cut down a bit of his tournaments this year.
True. Also, with his rating increasing, the number of tournaments he can play will also be more limited, where he can face stronger players.
Thanks, Srinath, and all the best for last round tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you so much.